Genius old thief comes up with a way to break inside the most secure bank on the planet by posing as a policeman, but he soon finds out that things do not go quite as he expected. The story takes place in New York. Keith Ripley, a professional thief, goes to a bathhouse that is frequented by Russian mobsters. The gangsters ignore the strange visitor until he reaches the pool, where they notice that he is carrying a pistol with a silencer. Scared for their lives, the mobsters quickly disperse, leaving their leader to be executed by Keith. Meanwhile, in Manhattan, two sharply dressed men leave a jewelry gallery with a briefcase. They walk through the streets, unaware that they are being followed by Gabriel Martin, a small-time thief who is after their diamonds. The two jewelers descend into a subway station, with Gabriel walking right behind them. Keith, who is sitting at the station, starts following Gabriel and the two men, realizing that the young thief wants to steal their merchandise. The jewelers get onto a train. Going after them, Gabriel notices that two cops have also boarded the train. Despite the danger from the policeman, Gabriel takes out a gun and threatens the jewelers, ordering them to open the case. Keith is sitting nearby, curiously observing the amateur robber at work. Under pressure, the jeweler reluctantly opens the briefcase. To Gabriel's disappointment, there is only cash inside. Enraged by the setback, he tells the man to give him the merchandise. Keith interferes, calmly advising the young robber to take the money and leave while he can. But Gabriel ignores the advice, telling the jeweler to take off his clothes. Gabriel searches his coat and finds the diamonds hidden in the pocket. He gloats, not realizing that the two cops are about to enter the train car. In panic, Gabriel quickly throws the cash up into the air. While greedy passengers rush to collect it from the floor, he quickly escapes from the pursuing policemen, who are slowed down by the chaos that erupted around them. Amused by this turn of events, Keith realizes that Gabriel is smarter than he looks. The courageous robber climbs onto the roof and crawls ahead, barely escaping an upcoming sign that was about to smash his head. The cops chase him through the train cars. When they climb onto the roof, Gabriel opens fire, giving the police an excuse to shoot at him through the roof. He dodges the barrage of bullets and continues crawling further. Seeing a subway station ahead of him, Gabriel quickly changes his clothes and jumps off the train when it arrives at the station, disappearing among the crowd. A large police force arrives and orders everyone to the ground. Gabriel lies down on the floor, smiling about their inability to find him. Not finding the robber on the train, the police reluctantly let everyone go. Before leaving, Gabriel looks at Keith, who looks back at him with interest. He's already figured out that the old man is no ordinary train passenger. Later, the police detectives watch the security camera footage, which shows that Gabriel did not escape from the police, but simply blended with the crowd. Looking at the faces of the people at the station, they notice Keith Ripley. Lieutenant Weber, the head of the division, reveals that Keith is a professional art thief who has eluded capture for decades. Weber has been trying to catch him for years, but with no luck. Sometime later, Gabriel visits a shady place in a bad neighborhood to meet with a woman who poses as a fortune teller. But in reality, she peddles stolen jewelry. Unexpectedly, Keith walks through the door and aims a shotgun at the young robber, taking his gun away from him. Gabriel quickly grabs the shotgun, leading to them holding each other at gunpoint. Gabriel pulls the trigger, only to realize in horror that Keith's gun is not loaded. Fearing that the older man will shoot him now, Gabriel tries to walk away, saying that he can have the money for the diamonds. But Keith says that it was never his intention to rob Gabriel. He offers him a job instead. As soon as the two walk out of the building, they are intercepted by Russian mobsters who start beating them up. Apparently, Keith owes the mob a large sum of money. They confiscate Gabriel's bag of cash as interest pay and threaten Keith to force him to repay his debt, leaving the two afterwards. Keith says that he split the money beforehand, giving Gabriel his half. Keith promises Gabriel much more than he lost if he accepts his offer. Exhausted and beaten, Gabriel leaves, saying he wants nothing to do with the old man and his crazy problems with the mobsters, but he soon reconsiders when he finds a note from Keith with an address and a time for them to meet. They meet in a bar, where Keith explains that in order for him to repay the debt to the Russian mob, he plans to rob the Romanov jewelry gallery that Gabriel stalked earlier. He wants to steal two Fabergés that are worth $20 million each and needs Gabriel's help to do it. Persuaded by Keith's charm, Gabriel agrees to take the job. The two drive to Brighton Beach, where Keith has some business he needs to attend to. While he is away, Gabriel looks around the neighborhood. His attention is drawn to a newspaper that has a picture of the mysterious train robber. Gabriel starts a conversation with a local Russian woman. She is fascinated by the daring bandit in the photo, unaware that she is talking to him right now. Keith walks out of the store, surprised to see Gabriel flirting with the woman. It turns out she is his goddaughter. Her name is Alexandra Korolenko. Her father was Keith's partner in crime until he was killed during a robbery, making Alexandra resent Keith as she blames him for her father's death. Keith warns Gabriel to stay away from Alexandra. He is very protective of his goddaughter. Preparing for the heist, the two robbers learn everything there is to know about Fabergé eggs. The two eggs they are going to steal are unique because nobody knows about their existence except for Keith's buyer. It is revealed by Weber that it was Keith himself who murdered his partner, Viktor Kirilenko. He was ordered to do so by the Russian mob as Viktor was about to enter the witness protection program, but they don't have any proof. Despite Keith's warning, Gabriel tracks down Alexandra to a lawyer's office and asks her out on a date. The two meet later at night in a club on Brighton Beach and have a good time together. In order to scout the gallery for the heist, Keith devises a sophisticated plan involving fake IDs and invitations to the charity event. He sends Gabriel to the dry cleaning place to plant a miniature camera on someone's tuxedo. Posing as policemen, the two robbers attend a prestigious police charity event held at Romanov's gallery. Once inside, they are thoroughly searched by security. Russian owners of the gallery meet with police commissioners. They are donating a large sum of money to the New York Police Department. Keith and Gabriel covertly scout the gallery, learning about the state-of-the-art sophisticated security system that is going to be impossible to crack with conventional means. A serious problem arises when Keith is recognized by Weber, whose identity he assumed to pass security. Keith cleverly points out that it would be an unbelievable embarrassment for Weber to turn them in now, as it would make Weber appear incompetent in the eyes of his superiors, so the policeman reluctantly lets them go. Keith is happy with the way things turned out, but his optimism is not shared by Gabriel. He says they can't possibly rob the gallery now because the police are aware of their intentions. But Keith reassures him that simply knowing their intentions will not give Weber an advantage, as he doesn't know what they are after. Nobody does because the eggs are secret. Keith taps into the camera that Gabriel planted on the tuxedo of one of the owners of Romanov's gallery. The two owners take the police commissioners upstairs to show them their private collection. Keith and Gabriel watch closely while the owners explain the details of how their security system works to the policemen. Apparently, in order to open the vault, both owners must be present to pass a biometric scan and voice identification. If that's not bad enough, all the valuables in the private collection are stored in armored display cases that would take at least half an hour to drill through. More than enough time for motion sensors to detect the criminal activity. The Fabergé eggs are located deeper in the vault, behind an armored metal vault door. The robbers realize in dismay that the task may simply be impossible. Before leaving, they must remove the hidden camera from the tuxedo, or the owner will know that they've been watching him. Gabriel takes a drink and intentionally spills it on the owner's clothes. He humbly apologizes and tries to clean it up, giving him an opportunity to extract the camera from the tuxedo without the owner noticing anything out of the ordinary. The two robbers quickly depart, unaware that Weber has already dispatched a task force to conduct covert surveillance on them. The policemen notice that someone else is watching the robbers. It turns out to be the FBI. They hold a meeting with New York police officials, including Weber, explaining that they are investigating Zykov, one of the owners of the gallery, who they believe is involved in Russian organized crime and is trying to gain the police's support with his unusual generosity. So they respectfully ask the policemen to drop the investigation of the upcoming robbery. The police commissioners agreed. Despite the direct order from his superiors, Weber refuses to let Keith Ripley slip through his fingers again. Keith and Gabriel start working on a plan, figuring out all the details. Gabriel joins a gym frequented by Zykov. Finishing his workout on a machine, Zykov leaves, unaware that he left his fingerprints on a piece of transparent plastic tape that Gabriel put there beforehand. They hack into the gallery's security system and record the voice of Sergei Zykov's partner when he opens the vault by saying various predetermined words. Furthermore, the motion detectors in the vault can be fooled by a special device that makes ultrasonic noise. Confronted by Gabriel, Keith reveals that they are stealing the eggs for Russian mobster Nicky Petrovich, who is a rival of Zykov. The mobsters grow impatient with Keith, so they kidnap him and Gabriel and bring them to an amusement park for a meeting with Nicky Petrovich. He doesn't trust the two robbers, thinking they are going to double-cross him and keep the eggs for themselves, so he orders his men to kidnap Alexandra to make sure that Keith and Gabriel deliver the eggs as promised. If they don't, she dies. Threatened by the mobster, the two robbers double their efforts. They get into the subway and find a service room that lies beneath the gallery, intending to get inside through the ventilation. Keith calls security, pretending to be someone from the subway maintenance company, and informs them that they will be conducting noisy maintenance work in the subway under the gallery. When everything is ready, they begin the robbery by drilling the wall and removing a block of concrete, creating a passage inside. A security guard is alarmed by the noise, but his superiors assure him that it is just maintenance work in the subway. Keith and Gabriel climb into the basement of the gallery through the hole they made. Once inside, they hide it with a poster. Breaking the lock on a door, the two get inside the power distribution room. The guards check in with each other over the radio every hour. When they do it at 10 p.m., the robbers set their clock to 1 hour. That is how much time they will have for the robbery. They try to disable the sensors but unintentionally cause an alarm. Following procedure, the vault security guard descends into the basement and looks around, but he doesn't find the robbers and tells his colleagues to shut down the alarm. Second later, he is taken hostage by the robbers, who emerge unexpectedly from the power room. Keith escorts the guard to the elevator, where they use his swipe card to activate the elevator and go upstairs. They deliberately stand close to the door so that they wouldn't be visible on the security camera inside. Arriving upstairs, the guard helps Keith and Gabriel change all the security camera's footage to a static picture. They go back to the basement, where Keith and Gabriel restrain the guard with duct tape and leave him in the power distribution room. The robbers get into the elevator and ride upstairs, carrying heavy bags with the equipment they will need later. Everything goes fine, and the guards don't see the two on the camera, despite them standing right in front of it. Gabriel puts on a rubber glove on which they imprinted Zykov's fingerprints. He presses the glove on a scanner, passing the biometric check, and gives a signal to Keith. Keith passes the voice verification by playing recordings of specific words spoken by Sergeyev during earlier checks. A big problem arises when a computer suddenly demands that Sergeyev answer the question, "Are you hungry?" asked in Russian. Keith says no, imitating Sergeyev's voice. Surprisingly, it works, and the two successfully open the vault. Once inside, they assemble a special cart that Gabriel will use to move across the floor without triggering the alarm. Watching the invisible laser beams of the motion detectors on his phone, Keith gives Gabriel instructions on how to bypass them. He carefully maneuvers through the beams and gets into the planned position, placing a special device on the floor that immediately renders the motion detectors inactive. The final stage of the plan commences when the two robbers start drilling the enormous vault door of the room with eggs. It is a long and tedious process, and they have to change a few drilling heads as the door is surprisingly durable. When they make a hole, Keith uses an optical device to look inside the locking mechanism and gives Gabriel the number combination that opens the lock. Meanwhile, Weber is informed that there was an alarm at Romanov's earlier, but it was quickly shut down. He immediately deduces that the robbery is going down tonight, so he sends a large police force to apprehend the robbers at the gallery. Keith and Gabriel open the vault door and go inside. They look through various priceless items and realize the Fabergés must be hidden in a wooden box inside the armored display case. Keith breaks the case and retrieves the box. Looking inside, he happily discovers the eggs. He turns around only to find out that Gabriel is pointing a gun at him. In a surprising twist, Gabriel reveals that he is an undercover cop from Miami. He has been working with Weber this entire time to catch Keith in the act. Keith is devastated by the shocking news. Threatened at gunpoint, he hands over the box of Fabergé eggs to Gabriel. He also gives the policeman the location of Nikki Petrovich, as they both realize Alexandra will die if Gabriel doesn't give him the eggs. The last possible moment, Gabriel escapes from the vault, leaving Keith to be arrested by the police. Weber and his men arrive at the gallery. Meanwhile, security guards notice an elevator arriving at their floor. One of them goes to investigate. Seeing that it is empty, he walks inside only to be attacked by Gabriel, who takes him hostage. Keeping the guard at gunpoint, Gabriel tells the others that he is a police officer and orders them to drop their guns. They reluctantly comply and let him out of the building. Instead of joining the other policemen, Gabriel quickly leaves the scene. This leads to a misunderstanding when Weber and his squad enter the basement looking for the robbers. They are detained by security guards, who understandably assume they are part of the robbery, like Gabriel, who also told them he was a policeman. Gabriel arrives at a meeting with the Russian mobsters who are holding Alexandra hostage. The mobsters let her go in exchange for the box with Fabergé eggs, but they insist that Gabriel must go with them to verify that the valuable items are authentic. The owners of the gallery arrive and immediately go to the vault, where they find Keith. Zykov goes downstairs and meets Weber. He apologizes for his security guards detaining them earlier and leads the policeman to the vault, where Weber questions Keith. Keith claims he has no idea where Gabriel is. Meanwhile, Gabriel has a meeting with Nikki Petrovich and verifies that the Fabergé eggs are real. To Gabriel's great surprise, the eggs are made of wood. Robber laughs, realizing that he risked his life for a piece of wood. Petrovich explains that it is not the jewelry that makes them valuable, but the historic context of them being the last Fabergé eggs made in Tsarist Russia. The next day, Gabriel reports to Weber. Weber is dissatisfied with his performance, saying that Gabriel has become personally involved and lost good judgment in this case. They are informed that the FBI apprehended Nikki Petrovich. Gabriel and Weber go to see the mobster, only to find out that it is a different man. All this time, Gabriel was dealing with someone else who impersonated Nikki Petrovich. Looking through the mugshots of known Russian mobsters, Gabriel identifies the imposter as Viktor Korolenko, Keith's partner who was supposed to be dead. The case falls apart completely. Unsanctioned police investigation that involved a questionable undercover cop, Fabergé eggs that never officially existed in the first place, and a Russian mobster who may or may not be involved. None of this would hold up in court, so the police have no choice but to release Keith Ripley from jail, humiliating Weber, who went above and beyond to catch him. It becomes apparent that Keith and Victor orchestrated this whole charade from the beginning. They staged Victor's death to make his problems with the Russian mafia go away, and they used Gabriel to pull off the robbery. Keith, Alexandra, and Victor happily reunite at the airport. They are about to fly away in their private jet. Before leaving, Keith calls Gabriel. He reveals that he knew Gabriel was a policeman even before he came to New York because he has sources in the police department. Keith thanks Gabriel for his help in the robbery and invites him to join his crew as a thief. Gabriel later meets with Alexandra, who remained in New York. They confess their feelings for each other, and he tells her that he is going to accept Keith's offer. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Movie Fist channel so you don't miss out on interesting movie plots.